What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. We are live from Blue Wire Studios at the Wynn in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's episode 632 of the podcast. Remember, you could comment, like, and subscribe at Jack O'Hara TV on our YouTube channel. We got the one and only Don Hayley in the studio today.
What's up, brother?
We had Katya Hayley a couple weeks back. Now we have you. I've oddly followed you on social media for like years now. Because I remember telling you the first time that I saw you, I'm like, I know you.
From where?
I don't know. I don't know why I ever followed. Maybe it was something that just intrigued me and I followed you. Maybe I like usually when I'm intrigued by people and I want to invite them or connect with them, I'll screenshot their account on my phone and look back at it like a week later and be like, all right, who do I want to reach out to this week?
Come on, man. I'm not that interesting. Just a boring CPA, Web3 guy.
Well, I want to talk about that, though. Web3, everything that you've been doing, you just told me before we came on, you're looking to get more into the education side and podcasting and marketing and promoting.
Yep.
But talk to me a little bit about that side of it, because you say it's boring, but it's intriguing to me because it makes the world go round.
What are you saying, accounting?
Yeah.
So I started my career, I went to school for accounting at USF, so University of South Florida. And being a first-generation college student through my family, I'm the first one to graduate college, I was like, oh, this is a cool career. This is something I can do. Because previously I was a prep cook, a dishwasher. I paid my way through community college, which got me scholarships and the ability to attend USF. And the thing about accounting, I met with the dean of USF Business, and they were like, accounting has the brightest future from our business school. It's top 50 in the nation in accounting at the time. I don't know what they're at now. Really good school, really good education process. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll check out accounting. Maintained high GPA and got recruited by Ernst & Young. Worked at Ernst & Young for a couple years, obtained my CPA license, so being a certified public accountant. But during those 2 years, I got severely depressed, overweight. I gained like 40 pounds. I was like, I went from shredded jiu-jitsu fraternity guy, to 40 pounds, overweight, depressed, like unaligned with who I was. So ultimately, I decided, you know what, fuck this. I left. Can I curse on this podcast?
You can say whatever the hell you want, man.
So just how I genuinely felt. So I said, fuck this, and left public accounting, and actually went all in on an event company that we were running. Ended up failing. First business, ego got involved, his nightlife business, all that kind of stuff. And I was in a bunch of debt. And I was like, man, not really, pretty dismal. I was like pretty dismal. I just bought a house, and the house was, being renovated, and the contractor left, the general contractor left, took the money from the 203K, I think it's called. And so like my house is gutted, and I'm in debt, like 50K worth of credit card debt. And I was living like with no purpose. And I was like, man, what can I do? And then my buddy's like, hey, bro, you want to go to Tony Robbins? I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, what's another $2,000? It's in LA, across the country. Never been to the hills, none of that. So we went to Tony Robbins, drive around the hills, got motivated, and then I reframed my CPA license. I was like, at that event, I was like, my superpower, I think there's only like a little over 500,000 CPAs in the nation. And businesses, entrepreneurs, they all need somebody to manage their finances. A lot of entrepreneurs. So me, I'm a maverick. I'm a big visionary guy. So I actually wasn't aligned in this, but I was able to do it for a short period of time. Where I'll get into further my story, but ended up starting a CPA firm and growing that to 6 figures in 6 months. One of my clients, which pulled me into financial freedom, out of debt, all that stuff. One of my clients was a real estate guy. So I was a CFO, and I was acquiring, flipping, doing like the Burr method, where we refi the properties and all of that. So I learned a lot about real estate. So I used his contractor crews to finish my house. Then I refied my house. So that's the way I got out of debt initially, and then also the CPA firm. And so I built that firm up to 6 figures in 6 months, which I thought was really cool because I was able to identify a problem and a need in the market. And then I was able to build value for these clients that need, entrepreneurs that need help with finances, right? So CFO level stuff, high level entrepreneurship stuff, they were really high level entrepreneurs, multi 7, 8 figure guys. And it was cool to work with them because I learned a lot from them. Fast forward a little bit, like I kind of realized like accounting wasn't for me, and I guess I'm getting into my life story a little bit. So accounting wasn't for me in the sense like I'm not like I'm an ideas guy, a visionary guy, a market like what I do now, full time marketing, right, consulting. I ended up meeting a guy. His name was Nick, and he wasn't a speaker. He was a bodybuilder and a prankster. And I met him at a mastermind with my business partner in the event company that we were running. His name is Ratmir, and he wasn't speaking. He didn't even know who Tony Robbins was. Ratmir goes like, "Dude, you could be speaking on stage with Tony Robbins one day." Fast forward a few months, we take him to Tony Robbins. We're volunteering. We introduce him to his whole team. We're working free for Nick for about a year. About a year and a half later, we're partnered with Tony Robbins doing global keynote tours, tours in China, all over the U.S. So that's really where I really learned marketing at a high level, digital marketing, personal development. That's what was like the start of my journey. I attended Tony Robbins for a bit, volunteering in that first one that actually shifted, that gave me that perspective of my value, my CPA license and all of that. And then I, really just dove into the world of personal development. I've been to like 15 to 20 Tony Robbins seminars because we're partnered with him, countless seminars around the nation, masterminds, info products, digital marketing. And I'm going on a tangent here, but let's get a quick scope of my perspective in my life. Then we, COVID hit. So we built a 7-figure speaking brand, partnered with Tony, all the accolades. We moved to Vegas March 2020. March 1st, 2020 was our move to Vegas here. So we left Florida, the free state, and came to Vegas, and literally 13 days later,
immediately shut down.
So our Vegas domination goal, like conferences, because if you think about Vegas, there's the most conferences in the world here, right? So this is the event capital, one of the biggest event capitals in the world, and we went from a 7-figure business to zero overnight. We just moved across the country. We had a network, but not an extensive network here yet. So basically ground zero. Then we're like, okay, let's hit it hard more in digital marketing, build out info products. So we're learning from the top guys, buying masterminds, and, really trying to figure out that flow. But during that time, and this is what I segued into Web3, which is we're going to talk more heavily on. So during that time, I saw an opportunity because this was the bull run. If you think about late 2020, early 2021, the bull run ended November 2021. So like the real peak of it was that time frame, and I started getting into Web3 around March 2021. So I missed about half the bull run. I would say at least the COVID money bull run, which was very high. I think Bitcoin went to in the first pump like 60 something, right? So it's So my intro to Web3, I could tell the story. It's kind of funny. I started initially just investing in tokens like small ICOs or random meme coins, and just networking my way. I didn't really have a network in Web3, and I bought a mastermind, or not a mastermind. I bought a group chat, an alpha. They call them alpha chats, and access to an alpha chat. And I had, like I said, I had no network. Like I had a personal development network, but that doesn't really translate into the Web3 space. So I basically was starting at ground zero of a network in this industry, which is another thing of my story. Like I've always been able to, one of my superpowers is like to be able to connect and see the value and add value to high level people, which allows me to access different levels of network and like get access to higher levels of people. And I've done that consistently, like with the Victorious brand with Nick, like able to get in front of the top people in the world. Just done it consistently throughout my journey. And I did the same thing in Web3, right? So I started from nothing in Web3, bought this alpha chat, started networking, adding value, doing all the things that you should do when you network and you meet people.
What were those specific things that you were adding value towards?
So people would post like something in the group chat, like, hey, I'm marketing a project. Hey, I have a project launching, or hey, like, because I have a background in digital marketing. So like, it translates somewhat, but in reality, it does. Like if you need to know marketing to marketing Web3, but Web2 marketing doesn't work in Web3, if that makes sense. Like if you're running like crazy influencers, you're running, a bunch of ads, like most of the time, like real Web3 people will realize, hey, that's not that's not part of our culture. That's not part of like who we are as an ecosystem, right? So, I mean, obviously Web2 people are going to buy Web2 products. So when the bull run was happening, there was a lot of Web2 products in Web3 that made a lot of money but didn't succeed, right? Like money isn't the factor of success in Web3. It's culture, it's adoption, it's involvement. How many people hold your product? How many people, invest in your product and like maintain and don't drop, like we call them holders, right? So to answer your question, how I started meeting people, I just started, people would post, then I would pull them to private. So not chatting in the group, I would always, because like WhatsApp, you can just reply privately, start a group thread there, figure out what their concerns are, what their needs are. And I have a pretty extensive network. So I would like try to connect dots, add this person to this person, or, this person adds this kind of value. So I bring them. So I would say master connector. Like I'm really good at seeing people's value and then like remembering people's value and then connecting them, right? So I was talking to my coach today actually before this. She's like, why don't you charge to connect people? And she's like, it's not like, I don't know. I feel organic about it. Like I love seeing people win. So like when I see people win, or like there's like a goodwill there, right? I learned in accounting, there's like a goodwill, and like if I need to cash in that chip later, I can cash it in, which was how I started developing these relationships, right?
And like you're looking at it from a perspective of like, oh, I'm connecting these people because I think they'd be a good fit, as opposed to them coming to you like, hey, can you connect me with so and so? That's where you could probably charge them.
Yeah. If they were coming to me, if I had a net, right, like a garden, it's like, hey, if you need these connections, which I'm actually building now, because I do got to monetize. I want to monetize the wealth portion, because like when you make people money, you can monetize it, right? In my opinion, like when you're adding so much value to somebody, it's not intangible; it's a tangible thing where you can actually prove that you're adding the value to generate the wealth or generate the revenue or generate the preservation. So I developed a model. It's called AMP method. And so it's the accumulation, multiplication, and preservation of wealth. So I guess to answer your question in the full loop, earlier we talked about like my evolution into Web3. So I started marketing, consulting, adding value to projects, brands, and all of that. Built a really strong business just on referrals, no marketing, like external marketing, no cold email, things that we would do for clients, no like ads or anything like that, because I have a lead generation background. I didn't run anything. It was all handshake, word of mouth. Built a 7-figure business on just that during the bull run, and just marketing, consulting. So I thought that was a really cool thing that I didn't even focus on building the business. It just kind of like naturally came to me. Which was cool. We just focused on delivering results and adding value to clients. And then, now for me, like I love trading, I love helping brands. I love marketing and like creating results for others, right? And that's kind of like where that coach and that person that wants to, influence, right, and help others comes out, right? So if I could show up in brands, why am I not doing it for myself? Right? Like it's always, I talk to a lot of branding people, but like a big problem is that I'm willing to help others, but not help myself and brand myself. Right. So that was my goal for 2023, and is why we're on this podcast today, is I'm going to start seeking opportunities to put myself in the light, put myself out there, because I have the information. I'm an NLP trainer. I got trained by the same coaches and trainers by Tony Robbins. I've been to countless Tony Robbins events, and I'm not trying to like qualify myself in it, but I have a lot of information that can help a lot of people. My CPA journey, I have a lot of wealth knowledge, preservation knowledge. I had, marketing journey. I know how to generate revenue. I know how to build brands, build solid offers, build all of those things that I know I can help others just by conveying a message, by talking to people like yourself, by starting a podcast, by creating a platform. And I noticed in marketing, I'm trading time for money, right? Trading time for money, and it's cool. There's a lot of upside. I work primarily in equity deals in Web3 now, retainer plus equity. And it's great, but it's still time for money. And I'm building other people's visions, other people's dreams. And it's cool at the end of the day. But like, why not build a platform that builds my vision and my dream that helps, I bring in a net and I'm able to help others build their, like, instead of me one-on-one doing it, I build an ecosystem where I can help many do it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of that is my evolution this year, 2023, and really stepping into that identity as a coach, as a leader, and helping people develop wealth, accumulation, multiplication, and preservation strategies through the AMP method, and then, education platform with Web3 technologies and gamification that I see, again, another problem that I see consistently in the info game is that course completion, right? People will buy a $5,000 course or $1,000 course and they'll get through a couple modules or whatever. And it's because the content's great. You can teach the best content in the world, the strategies in the world, but if you don't know the techniques to influence, if you don't know how to keep people engaged, the metaphors, the stories, the NLP techniques that I've learned over the years, also the gamification to keep them hooked, to build the ecosystem out where people are like, oh wow, like I'm winning with you, right? Like I'm winning by learning and I'm winning by generating, accumulating wealth. You've taught me business strategies to actually develop a business, develop a process, a system to accumulate revenue, right? And then the multiplication element. So this is just like the unique mechanism around what I see a lot of info products not addressing is, they'll teach you how to make revenue or they'll teach you how to do, whatever, preservation. No one's combining all the two. I know I'm going on a tangent now. I'm just getting passionate. But all of them at once. Because I've met so many entrepreneurs consistently. I was like, hey man, like, what's your story? Like how did you make it? Like, what did you do to become successful? And a lot of them are able to make a lot of money, right? Generate a lot of money. And a lot of them lost all of it. I was like, how is that a consistent theme, right? Because, well, somebody that knows how to make a lot of money probably doesn't know how to preserve a lot of money or put it in assets or put it in, advanced trading strategies or put it in tax vehicles that will maintain there's so many things that you can do to preserve wealth. But a lot of entrepreneurs just focus on accumulating. If you're not preserving, this accumulation just keeps going, and then you have an event like today or not today, but yesterday, like, all the Silicon Valley Bank liquidated, which is insane. It's like the biggest financial bank, the biggest bank failure since the financial crisis. That's 15 years, right? Like that's not a small event. And that's because interest rates are going up and they're going up, and the banks have these crazy long-term debts. The way banks work is they take short-term money, or they take short-term money and they give long-term loans to make money, right? So their spread, they've been running at a negative because the Fed keeps increasing interest rates. And these banks, the thing about the Silicon Valley Bank, they have all these like, I'm spacing right now, but they have all these startups that have crazy amounts of funding in the bank. So now if you think about all of Silicon Valley and like a lot of these high-level businesses now have no access to their capital. So are they going to make payroll on Monday? Right? So these are kind of events that, if you had all your money in there, right, as an entrepreneur, you're not really, you were a millionaire then, but now you don't have access to your money. So now you have liabilities, right? So all these kind of things, you got to always have awareness over. I know we're getting detailed and like, it's not necessarily like a specific thing.
This is good. Again, good stuff for people to know.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know. I didn't know a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. So it's just having awareness of the financial markets, having awareness of wealth in itself, like, right? Like if you're accumulating money and you're making money, but you don't have a tax strategy or a business or like at a simplest level, an LLC. Like I know so many people that don't even make a bunch of money and they don't even have an advanced tax strategy or a basic tax strategy. It's like, okay, well, you're just giving your money back to the government. What are you doing? There's just so many advantages to knowing the game, right? If you know the game, you're able to play the game at a high level. You know, a lot of these guys talking matrix and, you know, break the system, whatever. The matrix is designed in a way, so the system, right, the government, it's designed in a way and it has rules that you can play by for you to win. If you're not playing by the rule, or if you don't know the rules, you can't win, right? So it's all about knowing the rules to the game and amplifying the ability to play by those consistently, right? So it's like, yes, if you live in the US, there's a tax code. If you live in Dubai, there is no tax. But if you're a US citizen, that's not possible, right? So it's like, okay, what is your tax strategy? Okay, you want to move to Puerto Rico? I was just in Puerto Rico. It's amazing, actually. I really love Dorado, really love the islands. I'm from Florida, so I love the humidity is cool for me. Living here in Vegas is like, you know, it feels like Death Valley. You know, there's not a lot of energy, not a lot of life. You know, there's a lot of life on the Strip, but it's not like the energy, you know what I mean? Like the earth energy, the grounding energy, the life energy, the life force. So, you know, I know we've been talking a lot about a business, and I want to kind of like allow you to open up the frame a little bit and see what other questions you have.
No, this is so much good information for a lot of people to know. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm glad that you kind of went in depth on everything that's been going on and everything that you've been through. Because
Yeah.
it's all not by accident, but like it wasn't by plan, right? You meet all of these people, you begin networking with people, you begin hooking people up with one another,
Yep.
and then you look to turn that into, you know, a business strategy, right? From
Right.
a marketing standpoint. And then now with podcasting and that side of it on the education side, it's so easy. And you don't really realize how easy it is until you're kind of doing it on a daily basis of like,
Right.
oh, like this is where all the money's going to be made, right?
True.
Like I feel like you were able to figure that out quickly. Like, oh, I see this is working. I have a great network of people and I could introduce everybody to each other and provide that value and then turn this into something down the line that's going to benefit not only them but me as well.
Yeah, of course, man. That's the thing. Providing value. Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah, to close that loop, I opened that loop earlier. Providing value, right? So, you know, you can charge $5K for an info course if you're able to, you know, help people generate 6 figures, or, you know, $50K, or have them break free from their job, or, you know, you can provide a tax strategist connection, you know, and and they're saving 100 grand on taxes, and it just, there's a model there for always for value. And a lot of these info products, yeah, and you know, I love mindset info products, but it's so hard to tangibly grab the value you're getting. You know, most people, you know, being an NLP coach and NLP master, most people know there's a problem but don't believe there's a problem, right? Like, or don't take action on a problem. Because a lot of the underlying stuff, a lot of the limiting beliefs, and I went through this journey too, right? Like, which is why I was avoiding coming on podcasts or putting my personal brand out there. Or it's like, okay, am I good enough? Which is a core human belief, right? It's a survival belief, reptilian brain, that, you know, if we're not good enough, we die, right? That's over millennia, right? If we weren't accepted by our crew, our tribe, we would die. We'd get left behind, right? If you weren't providing, if you weren't of value, you would literally die. So that translates into this world where you're not gonna die if you're not gonna. You can order Uber Eats. You know what I mean. You're not relied on a tribe to feed you. So the fear of rejection could just be eliminated, right? Because like at this point, rejection doesn't kill you, but we're trained that rejection does kill you, right? Because like it's neurological. It's I know I'm getting esoteric here, but like past lives, DNA, genealogically, right? Like and to talk about past lives, and then we're gonna get a little bit into this, but like when I was doing my NLP, when I hired an NLP coach, was NLP Breakthrough, which basically is a process of eliminating or removing the energy of negative emotions. So we have 5 major negative emotions: anger, fear, hurt, sadness, and guilt. And we hold energy based on conditioning or experiences in our life, right? So if you think about traumas, things people said to you when you were young, and a lot of it stems from 0 to 7. So, you know, modeling your parents, everything your parents do as a child, you're looking at them and you're like, hey, you know, I'm going to model you. I'm going to become like, you're my leader, right? So I need to I act and I take on your conditioning. So if your parents, my parents, I love them to death, but like they weren't college graduates. They didn't have businesses. My mom was a bartender and my dad was a cook my entire life, paycheck to paycheck. I mean, my dad did better than my mom, but ultimately my mom, had three children and was raising her by herself. You know what I mean? And my parents were separated when I was 6 months. It was a lot, right? It was a pretty troublesome upbringing, and I developed a lot of different things that I had to release through this process from that 0 to 7, and I didn't even realize, like I didn't even consciously know that these are the things holding me back. And when you're able to remove back, so I'm on the breakthrough process here. When you're able to change, so you don't remove, you change the energy, you transmute it. So you reframe it from being negative to, oh, that was a learning. So anytime you're learning, it's a positive, right? You're like, oh, that I had an experience. I learned this. I reframed this. What did I learn? And in the process, you reframe it to positive. You ask your unconscious mind, which has its mind of its own, by the way, and you're able to reframe those experiences and change the energy of the past. So I don't know if the cameras are facing this way. So you have the past here, future or present here, right? Future. You're changing this energy to this moment here in the present. If you change this energy, it changes the present and then changes the future. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So you can literally change the trajectory of your life if you're changing the meaning you attach to things of the past, which was a crazy powerful thing. So why I brought this up was the past lives, and I wasn't able to get through anger. Like you literally feel your nervous system, like while you're going through this, you're doing the learnings, you're saying the things, and that your unconscious mind is saying, and you literally feel energetically like your nervous system. And I couldn't get through anger. I had a lot of anger. I rarely get angry now. I probably should get angrier more at the world because the world's in a, it's like, what the fuck is going on? But it's like, fuel that more into passion and serving. But ultimately, like, I couldn't get through anger. And I was like, why are we stuck on this? And I wasn't allowing past lives. The minute I just like let go and released and allowed past lives, it released in me. And I was like, okay, well, now I have to believe. And I saw these visions of like this battle and just whatever. Details are irrelevant. But it was like 3 lifetimes ago, which was powerful for me. And I was able to actually release that energy. Because think about me, bro. I'm a CPA. My family wasn't religious. So I wasn't like a spiritual guy. Like I was like, yeah, right. Past lives, energy, whatever, right? Like, and hyper analytical, CPA, Ernst and Young, da. So it's like, okay, like I'm cracking this stuff. I'm cracking the spiritual like thing. Now I'm like, okay, I've been to Joe Dispenza. Like I've done crazy breath work sessions, psychedelics. Like, man, like spirituality is real. Like energy is very real. Everything is, if you think about this is energy, it's just a slower state of energy. The reason it's solid, but everything, there's atoms and energetic compounds and all of this, we're all made of energy. Everything about us is energy. So why wouldn't we, focus on healing those traumas, those energetic ties, those energetic experiences that are just holding us back. Mm. And that's where, I forget where I got on this tangent. But that's where NLP really shifted my perspective on energy, past lives, and all of that. And where were we right before that? What was your question? So I can keep that loop going.
Talking about how you kind of realized that you could turn what you were doing into a business. It's something as simple as, connecting people and starting Web3, right?
That was
right. But at the same time, like, you're right in all of that. Even when it comes to like, what you do with NLP and coaching and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're able to get not necessarily in the minds of people, but you're able to articulate what people are going through, no matter how traumatic, how frustrating, whatever's going on, to get them to find what's wrong and fix it, and also get them on the same page with someone else that maybe they could be doing business with.
Yeah. I mean, just knowing how to connect with people and like really understand them is superpower for sure. Mm-hmm. And then remembering their superpower so I can connect them with other people.
Exactly. What was it specifically when you went to the first Tony Robbins? You said you're like, F it, I'm already 50 grand in debt. I'll spend another 2 grand here to go to his event. What was it specifically that he said that shifted the paradigm for you in your mind?
For Tony, so we're going through this exercise. I forget. It was like your superpower exercise or something like. I have the notebook somewhere, and I just really thought through like, oh, what is my leverage? What is my unique proposition? You know what I mean? And like, it came, I guess just a download. I call them downloads, but like when you just get ideas that were given to you to start a CPA business. I didn't know how to start a CPA business. I mean, I was a CPA at Ernst & Young, but that doesn't translate at all. Like when you're auditing Fortune 500 and 100 companies like Verizon, Tech Data, all these crazy huge companies, it's not even close to what you're doing for entrepreneurs. It's like totally different worlds. Same structure, systems, all that stuff is cool. You want to know the basics or the advanced accounting. It definitely helps for smaller entrepreneurs, but these smaller entrepreneurs just need help primarily adding value to their business. They need help making sure their financials are straight, their tax strategies are straight, their accounting and all that stuff, right? But it's not advanced. It's not like crazy hard. So I had to relearn all that, right? Like I didn't learn that in school. Like what you learn in school isn't really what you learn at all
to survive in any way, shape,
ever in anything. The school system's broken, and ultimately it wasn't designed for success or freedom, which is why I want to do education and why I want to build a platform to help people. Because I went through these trials and tribulations. I studied from the top minds. I've done the things. I've done the work. I've done the failures. I've had the experiences, so I can help people fast, or at least shortcut that, right? Like, I know I'm only 31, but I feel like I've been doing this forever. It feels like it's like, especially in Web3, it's a whole lifetime. It feels like so.
That's how I feel with this. I feel like I'm a 50-year-old trapped inside a 24-year-old's body.
Yeah.
Sometimes I remember I'm still a kid.
Yeah, still,
I still have my whole life ahead of me. But
Yeah.
no, I mean that's very on brand, on point for you.
Thank you.
Kind of figure all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive for a kid. Again, your age, 31, I guess, is like the new 21.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, dude, if I knew what I knew now at 21, dude, I know some kids that are pretty smart. I mean, just because of the technology, like if you think about evolution of education, right? Like before you had to go to school to get information, you had to trust that the people giving you the education don't have an agenda, which they do, right? So it's like, it's very obvious that an education system is designed to make you a factory worker, right? It's not designed for freedom, creativity. You show up, the bell rings, you shut up, you do your work, you answer when you're called on. What is that? It's on employment. You're an employer. You're working. You're becoming a job, right? You're designed to memorize things that you're going to forget right after the test. It's all bullshit. It's like none of that shit's valuable. You need to be able to problem solve. Creative problem solving and entrepreneurship is the key, right? So it's like the model was designed. I mean, I'm not going to get too deep into this stuff, but I can tell a story a little bit around it. So the Prussian Empire, which was an empire, I forget the dates, that basically was the most evolved empire, I don't know, however many centuries ago, or whatever. And they would just educate their civilians. So we were like the smartest civilization. And then the barbarians came, and then there was a war. Well, guess what? The educated, civilized, highly evolved humans of the Prussian Empire, they're like, why am I going to battle? I'm smart. Like, I don't need to battle. They lost the war. So the most evolved civilization in the history of the time, they lost the war to barbarians that weren't even really highly intelligent. So they had to revisit their model. They lost their power. So they're like, okay, we're going to teach a two-class system. We're going to educate a small minority to the highest levels. And then we're going to with the esoteric and all the high-level knowledge, the things that you need to do to really, I'll recap this in a second. But then we're going to teach these people the slave education, the factory worker education, right? And Like, so let's say 99-1, right? For example. Then, because these people weren't highly educated, they were able to take back, people signed up for they were able to, they won back their power because the people weren't, okay, like it took a while, like generations, but like ultimately they became the superpower again. So back in 1888, the U.S. education system was integrated the same Prussian model empire strategy. So it's called Trivium. You can look it up. And Trivium, there's actually a course, there was like 13 schools that were taught this highly advanced problem solving, grammar, rhetoric, all this stuff, education. And we're over here taught the bullshit, right? Public school system, all this stuff. And this programs you. So think about from zero, remember when I said 0 to 7 in NLP, you're designed in a way, you're conditioned in a way. From 0 to 7 or whatever, 0 to 18, you're taught this advanced curriculum. These kids are taught this dumbed down curriculum. You're never going to catch this person. Like even now, if I'm studying, I'm never going to catch. So for example, Elon went to one of these schools. Mark Zuckerberg went to one of these schools. It's plugged in. And so these guys compete at 18 at a global level because they're taught a different way, right? So it's like, I'm not versed in this education. I mean, I know where to find it, but like, I do know that it exists, right? And I have resources for it. Ultimately, it's like, you still got to play in this world, right? Like you're not, for info and education, if you're able to develop a business and create financially free, you're not creating the Facebook. Most people aren't creating the Insta. You know what I mean? You don't need to create the Tesla to be successful and happy and free in your life, right? And in my opinion, like that journey is almost like a prison, right? Because it's like now you have all this crazy expectations and all these people thinking about you and whatever, right? So now we just develop a simple model. We teach people how to make money, multiply that money through advanced trading strategies, basic trading strategies, crypto trading strategies, whatever, right? Like things I've been doing that I do for myself. And then preservation, just simple, man. So simple that it's like, okay, because what's the main thing? The first thing you have to do to break free from the matrix? What do you think?
Tell me.
Make some money, man. If you're working a job, you're in the matrix, period.
Or are you saying make money without trading time for money?
No, you could trade time for money. I'm just saying if you're working for somebody else, building somebody else's dream, whatever.
Which is trading time for money.
Time for money, right, yeah. But if you're doing it for your own business, your freedom of time, because you can work from your laptop or freedom of a location. So there's different levels of this, but level one is generating yourself an income that you're not working in a corporate America environment. Because if you're in a corporate America environment, bro, I experienced this. Your spreadsheet, like, dude, like I was a super high performer at Ernst & Young. So what do they do? What do they do, high performers? They throw them on, so busy seasons. So it's called busy season. Are you familiar with accounting, whatever? So right now is busy season. They have to get their public filings out. They have to do the 10K, the annual filing. So right now is the time that auditors are getting slammed. And I was an auditor and tax people too, but they're getting slammed and you're working 60 to 80 hours a week in an audit room. So if you think about an audit room, it's like this, like a room like this, table probably this big, and you got like 10 people, 8 to 10 people around it. All you're hearing all day is people eating, drinking, typing, whatever. You're eating your meals at the audit table. So think about seed oils, all the bullshit. So the reason I got 40 pounds is that we're ordering meals every day. Well, so most auditors get put on one busy season. 2 if they're unlucky. Bro, I joined Ernst & Young. I was on a consistent busy season for 2 years straight. Literally 6 busy seasons. So one busy season to the next busy season to the next busy season. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? It's almost like a curse to be a high performer because it's like they keep putting you on the fires, right? It's like, damn, because like every project has different, so why it was like that, because some projects have different year ends, so different 10K requirements or acquisitions or stuff like that. So it became like a nonstop thing for me. And I was like, I just got burnt out, super depressed, super fat. And I was like, this fucking sucks. So dude, I've been doing some research because I'm building this product. And the first people I want to help because I went through that journey and I could tell that story as CPAs. And I know I can, auditors and Big Four accountants and tax people, I know I can provide a value for them to start a six-figure firm. And what is that? That's the first level of breaking through the matrix. If you're not working for somebody else, you're a number on a spreadsheet, right? Like EY will, a Big Four company will replace you in a second.
Yeah.
You're literally replaceable in a second, no matter how fucking good you are. It doesn't matter. It's replaceable, right? It doesn't matter. So it's like, why are you working to build a dream that you're not even part of? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, if you sold your whole life to these accounting firms and they decide they don't want to make you a partner, you're fucked. You're not a partner. It's like they make that decision. You can't even, it's not even a choice you can make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like you have no choice in your future. So like, I was like, okay, who can I help first? And I was like, okay, I know I can help a lot of people. What's like the super tangible things? Like, okay, what have I done at a high level and that I can repeat easily? I could do marketing. There's so much competitors in marketing, and like, I would be modeling other strategies that I've learned from other marketers. And it's like, okay, why don't I just go to the blue ocean? Like, how many people are helping CPAs break through the matrix or creating financial firms? You don't need to be a CPA. You can be accountant, tax guy. You don't even, honestly, you're just learning how to add value to clients, right? And it's not a difficult thing if you're an analytical person. So yeah, building that out is my first step into info. It's called Freedom Firms. So it's going to be, the A to Z process of starting a firm, an accounting firm, CFO firm, tax strategy firm, maybe even a drop service firm, kind of like the way I connect people is like, because I have a list of providers that they can, so if you're a CFO for a company and you're like, hey, like, I don't want to provide tax, kind of like I don't like doing tax, right? I'm not a tax guy, but I have advanced tax strategists that I can rely on. I could talk the language as a CPA, and they do the work. You make a margin, whatever, right? Like, you can build a solid business doing that really easily, honestly. So drop service is really, really attractive because most people want to leverage. You're leveraging your time for money heavily there, right? Someone else is doing the service, and these guys have full-time operations, full-time teams, and you're just a CFO or a consultant for these companies. It's a badass process. So building that out, that's what I've been focusing on the last couple months, working with some cool guys that have done a lot of cool projects. I'll release that soon. They've done a lot of cool, really high-level funnels with really high-level people. So I'm all about relationships and partnerships. So I like to do things at a high level, really like to do things with quality and care. And then that'll evolve, man. That's my first demographic, just because like I have a heart for them, like, because I feel like I know their struggle. And I go on these forums, it's like Fishbowl, and it's like, man, all these people are like so upset or just like not happy. They're just like, man, this sucks. You know what I mean? Because it's busy season. I understand. Usually the emotions get better during summer and all that because you're more free. But what's a life you just like half the year you just feel like shit? You know what I mean? That sucks.
Oh yeah.
So helping people really develop that, but also going to build like a CMO product too. So that's all in the accumulation phase, right? But starting with the CFO product, multiplication phase, I have some really high level. So I learned a really high level advanced long-term options strategy. So the guy, one of my mentors, he's been trading for like 70 years. He's a beast.
70?
70,
Wow.
yeah. So he's seen a lot of markets, ups and downs, and he developed a crazy strategy. I'm not going to get into detail, but like he knows what he's doing, and I learned, he's one of my mentors. I've paid for his high-level mastermind, all that stuff. So that kind of stuff in there, obviously basic level crypto trading / setting up Web3, I don't want to get too much into day trading yet, just because day trading is so volatile. And honestly, day trading's tough in these kind of markets, man, because it's like unpredictable. When you're in a bull run and you're going with the trend, shorting's harder typically than longing. So it's like, if you're a new trader, I don't want to it's just such like so that's why it's a 3-phase thing, right? So it's like accumulation. You shouldn't be trading crypto. You shouldn't be trading long. If you don't have money, you shouldn't be looking to multiply it, right? Like, it's not, you need to have like a base, a foundation, a generate. So it's like, that's why the model's planned out this way, where it's like, okay, Now you're making $1 million a year. Let me teach you some strategies. If you're making $5 million a year, I can teach you how to literally take advantage of the bull run tax free. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like the models that I've learned from some high level tax guys. And it's like, yeah, I forget your question, man. I'm going on tangents, but I appreciate.
So you are giving us your wealth of knowledge.
Yeah,
on
thank
this
you, bro.
episode,
Yeah,
which is going to be great for you and your audience. You know,
Thank
because
you,
they're going to be
bro.
able to take away a lot from this.
Yep.
You know, going all the way back to bring this full circle, like going all the way back to the time where you kind of hit depression, you were in a rut.
hmm
What do you find other people like that and connect them with the right people and kind of use that experience to
So
help
find
others?
people in.
Yeah.
Well, that's the goal, man. Because like that's what I was in. Even at Ernst and Young, I was like, man, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, and I think a lot of people are, man, that are like, if you don't have a purpose, you don't have a why. If you're just showing up every day and you're like, man, I'm working for a guy or corporation, and you're not creating the life that you want,
Probably not making the money you want either.
or making the money you want, you're not gonna like genuinely deep down. Are you happy? Likely not. Probably most likely not. I would say most people live a facade of a life, right? Like they pretend like they're happy. They show up. They do the things that they're required to do to, meet the expectations of the matrix or whatever, like the system, and do the things that they're told to do. Get the house, get the white picket fence, like do the job, get the pension, be a corporate slave forever. Like, it's like, no, man, there's another way, and it's not that hard. The main thing, I think the main thing is everything is mindset. If you have a strategy and the strategies are there, I can show consistently, if you do these things, you will be successful. I guarantee it. Most people won't do the things because they believe they can't, or they'll have a limiting belief that they can't.
Yeah.
Which is where the power of the NLP comes in, where it's like, okay, all this is integrated, because if I can teach you how to get over those limiting beliefs at a core level, and I have scientific, like I have proof, I have taught by the best people in the world at this, right? I can get you out of your own way, and I can give you the blueprint that I know that works because I've done it myself and I've seen consistent people do it, right? Like, it's not hard. Everyone believes entrepreneurship and business is hard. I mean, yes, it is. The reason it's hard is because your mindset, right? The blueprint isn't hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Show up, make the calls, do the things. You will succeed over time. But most people, limiting beliefs, excuses, don't have the time, don't have the money, don't have the list goes on, and you could have all the limiting beliefs in the world. It's not going to change your circumstance.
Yep.
The only thing that's going to change your circumstance is action and certainty.
Mm-hmm.
Those two things, you can create the life you want, any life you want.
And it helps knowing the right people.
That helps.
It helps knowing Don Hayley, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on, though.
Yeah. Thank
Sharing
you,
your
bro.
wealth of knowledge here. This was episode 633 of the podcast, guys.
Okay.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Where can we follow you?
Instagram at Don Hayley, DonHayley. Yeah, that's the primary platform I use right now. So,
And when it comes to Web3 and anywhere else people can find you to connect with certain people.
yeah, just shoot me a DM on Instagram if you want to reach out. It's the best platform. I'm pretty active on myself. So,
Which is perfect. I love
Yeah.
people that are active on social media. People that actually answer their DMs.
yeah.
People with 10,000+ followers. You never get that with people. So
And if I don't answer,
Humble
you can
man.
just hit up Jack and he'll
hit up me. I'll connect you with Don Hayley, friend of a friend. But this was episode 633 of the podcast, guys. Check it out.
369. Let's go.
That was a ton of great knowledge. That'll be easy to make a ton of clips for you too.
Thank you, bro. You got me talking.